A massive nerf has just hit us, especially the most popular builds. So if you are currently playing one of the meta builds, you really want to pay attention to this, as this could change your entire build. Now, we all know in ARPGs, a lot of people like to play the meta builds. That's what people find fun. And a lot of people base their starter class on what class and what builds look to be the best. Now, the pre-release of D4 just started a few days ago, and there's already been massive changes, multiple hotfixes, and the latest massive nerf to especially damage reduction for a few different builds. And there's currently a massive outcry about this, especially on YouTube, Twitch, and Reddit. People are complaining about this and even demanding refunds for their game. And I'll definitely say from my perspective that some of these nerfs are quite severe. So let's get into it, shall we? So of course, as a whole, it is important to have balanced changes. Some things will be of course too strong and too weak in the beginning, and it's mighty fine to have them reined in a bit. And I would say that most of these choices, most of these nerfs here to the blizzards have done are actually pretty good, but there are a few of them I feel like are just way too far, especially when it comes to damage reduction. So if you're playing hardcore, this will really affect you. For instance, if we look over here in the patch notes, I'll link these down below of course. The Barbarian damage reduction from challenging shout reduced from 4 to 2% per. This basically ties into a 50% damage reduction overall for the entire character. And as you may or may not know, this is basically a lot of the damage reductions from the Barbarian, as basically every single build uses this to get that damage reduction. And the same thing can also be applied to the rogue down here. If you look on the Dark Shroud, same thing applies here from 0.8 to 0.4. So again, 50% damage reduction nerf. There have also been other big changes like the concussive passive here nerfed a bit more. We're not going to go through all of them in great detail, but there are quite a few that are important to know about. But most of them are actually fairly okay. And I basically just made it to realign the most powerful builds with the less powerful builds, of course. So if you're just logging in now, you will actually see a quite significant damage reduction from your character, since you also had a big decrease in the glyph powers. If we see here, all glyph bonus scaling has been reduced by 34%. That applies to almost all of them. There are a few exceptions here, but majority of builds and the overall strength of all characters have been quite significantly reduced. And if you combine this with, of course, the challenging shout before, and also the other nerfs that Barbarian has, you actually have quite a few Barbarians outraged right now. You even have someone like Rob, who is a big time blaster. He just hit level 100 as the first in the world, at least what we know of. And he stated on Twitch that he's going to be immediately re-rolling away from Barbarian due to these massive nerfs, as the class can seem not perform well enough now at the highest level that he wanted to. One of the main things I've seen people complain about over the last few days is the Barbarian. Now, we all kind of knew that the Whirlwind Barbarian is one of the strongest builds in the game. It is definitely S tier. But the main issue that has been going on here is that they nerfed the build itself and not just the damage. A lot of people would play the Whirlwind build for the simplicity of it. Just hold down Whirlwind and you kind of win. Sprint to win, as we like to call them. So when you nerf the playstyle of the build instead of just damage numbers, that is where the most of the issues arises here. Since the build relies entirely on shouts as well, and they have now been severely nerfed as well, the Barbarian is definitely gone from the top of the world and it's definitely fallen down a few pegs. Now, I would say overall this patch notes is pretty good. They have actually managed to increase and decrease a lot of the builds by only slight amounts, like the lucky hit chance from pulverize from 33 to 25. It's not that massive, and it'll definitely make it more balanced with the other builds that are less strong. And of course, they have also increased some of the weaker spells. If you, for instance, look on the rogue at the moment, we all know the Twisting Blade is dominating. They've increased the damage of Rapid Fire, which was severely neglected as well. So I would say overall, it is a good patch notes we have, but some of them are quite significant, and Barbarian has definitely been squashed a lot. But I'm sure in a few days, after people have some time to realign their new Paragon after the nerfs, that it hopefully won't be too bad. But it's currently very tense in the Diablo 4 community, since people basically made an entire character to play one build, and now it's been nerfed by more than 50%. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of this. Do you think these nerfs were necessary? And if you're playing one of these builds, if you're playing either the Rogue with the Dark Shroud for your damage reduction, or the Barbarian currently with the Whirlwind, let me know down in the comments down below if this makes you change your build, or even reroll to a different character due to this. Hope you found this video useful, guys, and I'll see you next one. Peace out.